Hi, hello everyone. Today we are going to cover some of the important GST decisions which have been reported in the Tax Amicus, which is the newsletter of Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan for the month of June 2021. The first case is from Karnataka High Court. Race club liable only on the commission received for service rendered through totalizator. CGST Rule 31A3 quashed. So in this case, the question was whether GST can be levied only on the consideration or it can be levied on something else also. Rule 31A3 of CGST rules says that the value of supply in case of betting, gambling or racing etc. is treated as 100% of the face value of the bet. So if you see what is the face value of the bet, face value of the bet is not the consideration because it goes to the winner. So therefore, if you look at what is consideration for the race club, it is only the commission which is being received. However, Rule 31A3 of the CGST rules says that they have to pay GST on the entire 100% of the face value of the bet, which is ultra vires the provisions of the CGST Act and which is against the fundamental principle that GST can be levied only on the consideration. Karnataka High Court has held that race club provides only a totalizator service for a brief period in its fiduciary capacity by holding the amount on behalf of a punter before redistribution to the winner of a stake. Therefore, the commission is the only consideration received by the race club for the supply of such service. The court further held that entire bet amount received by the totalizator liable for payment of GST is against the principle that GST can only be levied on the consideration. It was held that GST can be levied only on the commission received, and the case is with respect to Bangalore Turf Club Limited versus State of Karnataka. Moving on to next case passed by Rajasthan High Court with respect to provisional release of goods or vehicle when no opportunity given for depositing tax and penalty before confiscation. So in this case, a show cause notice was issued under section 129 subsection 3 of the CGST Act for seizure of the goods and vehicle, and the petitioner has filed a writ petition in the Rajasthan High Court. During the pendency of writ petition, an order for demand of tax and penalty was passed by the department. Thereafter, since 14 days have already lapsed, demand order was passed and order for confiscation of goods was passed by the department. So they have not given any opportunity of paying the taxes and penalties. Therefore, Rajasthan High Court has said that petitioner should be allowed to avail the provisional release of the goods and vehicle as per Rule 140 Sub Rule 1 of CGST rules on executing bond and providing surety. The next judgment is passed by Madras High Court. Refund claim cannot be denied due to technical glitches on GSTN portal. In this case, the petitioner is entitled for refund of CGST, SGST and IGST. However, while uploading the details in the GSTN portal, the GSTN portal has consolidated the entire refund amount under the head SGST instead of being under CGST, SGST and IGST. But the department has restricted the refund claim to the extent of SGST alone and rejected the refund amounts under the head CGST and IGST. So they have not granted the refunds, and it is not the fault of the assessee. This is due to the technical glitch on the GSTN portal, on account of which the refund claims got consolidated under SGST head instead of being under CGST, SGST and IGST separately. Therefore, Madras High Court has held that refund claim cannot be denied due to technical glitches on the GSTN portal. The refund should have been granted for the full amount instead of only to the extent of SGST. So the next case is from Odisha High Court. Appeal limitation liberal approach to be followed during COVID. So Odisha High Court is mentioning that liberal approach has to be followed by the department during the COVID period with respect to time limitations for filing the appeal. The assessee furnished a downloaded copy of the order against which an appeal was filed instead of furnishing a certified copy of the order along with the appeal. So Normally, along with the appeal, a certified copy of the order has to be furnished. Instead of that, SSC has furnished a downloaded copy of the order which is not certified. Therefore, the appellate authority has denied the condonation of delay as certified copy of the order was not furnished within the period prescribed under Rule 108, Sub Rule 3 of CGST rules. Considering the difficulties faced by the lawyers during COVID times in applying for the certified copy of the order, Odisha High Court has held that furnishing a downloaded copy of the order would amount to substantial compliance. And so, according to the Odisha High Court, when there is a restricted functioning of the courts and tribunals, a more liberal approach has to be followed in the matters of condonation of delay. Moving on to Andhra Pradesh High Court judgment with respect to composition levy. Turnover of VAT regime has to be considered in computing the aggregate turnover. When you compute the aggregate turnover for the purposes of composition levy, you have to include the turnover of VAT regime also. This is what Andhra Pradesh High Court has held in the case of Godway Funny Crafts versus State of AP. No intention to evade just because validity of e-way bill not extended. So in this case, Telangana High Court has held that just by non-extension of validity of the e-way bill by the SSE supplier or the transporter, no presumption can be drawn that there was an intention to evade the taxes. So in this case, the transporter could not deliver the goods in time as the road got stuck because of political rally. So the trolley was detained by the authorities when the delivery of goods was attempted on the subsequent working day. And Telangana High Court has held that just by non-extension of validity of the e-way bill by the SSE or the supplier or the transporter, you cannot presume that there was an intention to evade the taxes. This cannot be presumed. Liaison office connecting Indian customers with foreign partners is liable as intermediary. So there are Indian customers and there is a foreign partner which is considered as principal in this case, and the liaison office in India is considered as intermediary. Therefore, they are liable to tax under GST as an intermediary. Observing that the applicant was connecting businesses in India with business partners in Dubai, which was nothing but supply of services, the Maharashtra AAR has held that service provided by SSE is that of an intermediary and GST is payable on the same by the appellant. The SSE had stated that it liaison office of its Dubai head office and not acting on its own account. So when you're not acting on your own account and you're acting on behalf of someone else, then that is a very good case for intermediary, and therefore the authority has held that applicant has fulfilled all the required conditions to qualify as an intermediary under section 2 subsection 31 of the IGST Act in regard to Dubai Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So in the case of medicines, implants separately billed to inpatients liable to GST. So the Kerala AAR has held that the package to cover the treatment, including all required medicines and other supplies for a consolidated amount, would not be liable to GST. So if you are charging as a package, it is not liable for GST. It is because everything is charged as a package, and therefore it is naturally bundled in the course of business, and the principal supply was healthcare service. Therefore, it is not liable to GST. However, it has held that in case the medicines, implants and other items are not included in the package and they are billed separately, they would attract the GST at the rate applicable on those items. Malankara Orthodox Syrian Church Medical Mission Hospital. TDS under GST invoice when and when not to be equated to contract. The AR Karnataka has held that TDS provisions under Section 51 of CGST Act 2017 are applicable for every supply of goods and services, even in the absence of contract. So we all know that Section 51 is applicable when the total value of the goods and services under a contract exceeds 2,50,000 rupees. However, the AR Karnataka has held that these TDS provisions are applicable even in the absence of contract. Examining the definition of contract and invoice, the authority has held that each invoice shall constitute as an individual contract, and it was hence held that if total value of supply exceeds, even in the absence of contract, exceeds 2,50,000 rupees, TDS would be required to be deducted by virtue of Section 51. In case of continuous supply of goods or services, then you cannot equate the invoice to contract. And if it is not a case of continuous supply of goods or services, then in that case you can equate the invoice to the contract. This is what Karnataka AR has held in the matter of Udupi Nirmiti Kendra.